Hey, thanks for joining us for another edition of Weekend Winners, proudly brought to you by 1Equine for the equine athlete. And we're back at Albion Park Saturday night, 9-race program, good quality card as well. We've got a very intriguing free-for-all. Turn It Up, Manila Playboy, Deus Ex, Send It. They're all there lining up again, so that's going to be one of the highlight races. The other one is race number 2, a Rhodalands Gate 1, Mossdale Terry, the inside of the second row, drawn directly behind a Rhoda. So that's another highlight race in itself. In this edition of Weekend Winners, we're going to catch up with Angus Garrard and Pete McMullen. Angus Garrard's in good form, and naturally he's got a good book of drives coming through this Saturday night at Albion Park. He's jumped in the hot seat. He's going to spare us a few minutes, and he's with us now. Angus, appreciate the time.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me, Chris.
It's a good book here on Saturday night for you, and we start with a good drive in the opener with R11 Art. Last week he had a shocking draw, Gate 7. He moves in a couple of spots here this week, Gate 5. Is it still a little sticky, though?
Yeah, it is a little bit tough on paper. He's a horse that's sort of been racing super without getting much luck or reward. So, obviously it would have been nice to come up with a good draw, but I'm sure he'll race well no matter what. Okay, so what's the initial line of thinking here? Are you going for it? Are you going to have a look early? Oh, look, he sort of comes out good on his own, but, I don't think I'll hustle out real hard. If I can get some cover, I'd probably like to drive him off cover if I can, but in saying that, if he has to do work again, I'm sure he can. All right, those 4 horses to your inside with R11 Art. We always have Faith, who finally gets a draw. Mongolian Conqueror, Maywin Troubadour, Pyrrhic Dancer. They can all lead quite nicely in their own right. Yeah, that's right. So, it may just set up where we can sort of stay out of it early and put him into it later in the race if they sort of burn up a little bit. So, we'll just have to wait and see. Okay. What is his best racing pattern, R11 Art? I'm not sure whether I know yet, to tell you the truth, Chris. He can do it however, Obviously, if he ever finds the fence, he'll sort of run a good race in front, I think. But, they don't seem to want to let him get there very often. So, he's versatile. He's done it off cover. He can sort of do work and he can lead. So, we can sort of drive him however we need to, and he's sort of a good enough driving horse that we can sort of put him in some tricky spots and it doesn't worry. Just looking back at that replay last week, he was terrific. He never gave up in the home straight. He kept fighting all the way through the line. Yeah, he was really good. I was wrapped in the effort. He was sort of around a lot of horses that have been in really good form, and, he still found the line strong up the lane. And looking at this field on Saturday night, in comparison to last week, weaker, stronger, or about the same? I think on a whole it's probably a little weaker, but there's probably still some nice ones in there. As you say, we always have Faith comes up with probably his first good draw, really. So, he's a horse that's been racing super well, and there's a few others there too that have been going really well. So, probably over the whole field, it's probably not as strong across the board, but there's still a few standouts. All right, good drive there in the first. What about race 2? Keen to get your thoughts here on Bangkok DJ. This is the Band 5 pace. It's drawn together a good lineup, good prize money up for grabs here. Where's he at? His last 2 starts, he's been unplaced. Where is he at in your opinion right now? I think 2 back he had a little issue, so that probably explained that. But last start I thought he was really sound. He was last on the outside, and they got home in sort of slippery sectionals, and I think he ran the fastest last quarter of the race. He came home in 27 and a piece, and I think 26 something. So can't go much quicker off the track. I was really happy with that. So I think he's sort of still right where he was when he was sort of winning. But it's a little bit of a sticky draw. But in saying that, the race probably isn't quite as strong as he faced last time. Okay, so how do you line up that speed to your inside? A Rhoda Argyle, Lochinvar Jag. Do you want to use him early or just drive him for one cold shot? I think over the trip he's probably best not used a heap early. But in saying that, if we have to, we can. I doubt that I'd be lighting him up. There's sort of a few there, that all those ones you mentioned, they've sort of got good enough gate speed that I don't think we'd be clearing them. So we'll just sort of have to see how it plays out. Hopefully a couple of others take a shot and sort of put some speed into it through that first sort of 400 or 500. and then we can work out where we want to be.
Okay, do you think you'll get speed in this race? With Always Smoking there's probably every likelihood that you will get that genuine tempo, but the faster the better for Bangkok DJ, right?
Yeah, for sure. He loves sitting on hot speed.
All right. Well, that's race 2. What about race 3? Might as well. You gave her every opportunity last week. She ran a cheeky race, finishing in 4th, gate 6. That's not ideal, is it?
No, it's not. It's a little tricky, but I do think she's getting right back to her best. She felt really good last week, probably the best she's felt in a while, and I think she's probably getting back to where she was sort of 4 or 5 runs ago, where she was sort of in really good form and running really good races every week. So I can't see why she won't still race good.
Okay, and just looking at this race, with that speed drawn to your inside, a whole lot of Pretty and Girl from Rosedale, that might help you because at least you're almost guaranteed here that they are going to run fast.
Yeah, that's right. It looks like they roll again. So, we can drive her cold, drive her for one run, and if we get the luck, I'm sure she'll be right there.
All right, race 4. Here's another good drive. Unfortunately, it's a bad draw, Scotch and Ice. He was huge last week. He is absolutely flying, this horse.
Yeah, he is. He's low flying. He's sort of gone to another level these last few, and as you say, last week he was sort of luckless and ran a really good race.
Yeah, last week he had gate 7. You wouldn't believe it. This week he's got gate 10. So outside of the front, now he moves to the outside of the second row. And the big players here are drawn well, numbers 1, 2 and 3. The Tax Collector, RD's Flash, Pacifico Dream. So it's going to make it difficult for you. You're going to rely on a fair bit of luck.
Yeah, that's right. And given that they're drawn so good, it probably doesn't look like there'll be a whole lot of tempo. So, it could be a little bit of a tricky race. But, if we'll most likely just drive him for luck again. And if he gets it, I'm sure he'll be right there like he was last time.
Okay, so you cop your medicine this week and just pray for a good draw next week, hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Race number 5. I'm keen to get your thoughts here. I think this guy is going really well. Nick's Pick in particular. His last run, he was super. Are you happy with this guy?
Yeah, really happy, Chris. He was sort of first up for quite a while that last start there last Saturday night, and he savaged the line, and his closing sectionals were super. So hopefully he races up to that this week, and I'm sure he'll be right there.
Yeah, I think he ran the quickest third quarter and the quickest closing quarter, so he couldn't have done any more. Did he surprise you with how well he actually performed last week?
Yes and no. I sort of know he's got that in him, but I also thought it sort of may take him a run to sort of just get a bit of race fitness into him again, given that he hadn't raced for a while. But I wasn't surprised with how he raced.
Okay, so what do you do here from gate 2? Hasty Bid's got speed on your inside, and there's speed to your outside. So where do you want to be ideally here with Nick's Pick?
Oh, look, if we can stay in that first half of the field, obviously it's ideal. But, I don't want to buzz him out too hard. He'll come out a bit naturally, but I won't buzz him out. I'll just come out in neutral and see where they lob. He's a horse that's driven best for sort of one run if we can save him up for that last sort of 200 or 300. So, I'll just see what plays out around us, and hopefully we lob close enough.
All right, here's a question. How much gate speed do you reckon he does possess?
Oh, he's got good enough gate speed that he'd sort of get out as good as anything, I think. He's probably not one that would come out and sort of cross a lot, but he probably wouldn't get crossed a lot, put it that way.
Okay, but he's trained on well this week?
Yeah, really good.
All right. Race number 6. Here's another good drive here. Captain Nemo. He's fresh up. You know this guy really well. At his best, he's well up to winning this race.
Yeah, for sure. He's had a little bit of time off the scene, but, Mark's really happy with the way he's trained up, and hopefully he races good first up.
All right. He hasn't trialled, so he is first up since, I think, early February. So whatever he does on Saturday night, there's got to be more improvement to come.
Yeah, for sure.
And the distance will suit him, 2,138 metres?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's go to race 7. This is the free-for-all. Keen to get your thoughts here on Manila Playboy. These horses are starting to become quite regular clashing now. Turn It Up, Manila Playboy, Send It, Deus Ex. They're the big 4 right now. You're drawn outside of Turn It Up. So where does that sort of leave you? Where do you think you're going to be early in this race at the mile marker?
Probably depend on what Deus Ex does. We'll just sort of see what they do outside us, and I'll obviously have a better talk to Shane sort of closer to the race and see where he thinks he's at. But from all reports so far, he's been training up really well, and he's sort of as good as he's been for a while. So I can't see why we're on a good race. we're just sort of going to have to play it by ear as to what we do.
Okay. Does it suit you better that this race on Saturday night is at 2,138 metres compared to, being at a mile going up against the likes of Turn It Up and Deus Ex?
Possibly. I don't think it really worries our guy. He sort of races good over a mile, over 2,600. It doesn't sort of worry him too much. It's just probably the fact that we're not going to sort of kill him too much on Saturday night, given that there's sort of some big races coming up and he is first up for a few weeks, and being over the trip, he sort of won't want a gut buster, but in saying that, if we have to do some work at some stage, we certainly can.
But Turn It Up won't get away with the sectionals like he did that other time.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No. Hopefully there's a bit more genuine speed, and Middle the Playboy is going to be nice and close. That's the other thing. The small field is going to help you. You'll obviously be a lot closer to Turn It Up and Co, so you're going to be breathing right down their necks.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, that's your book of drives. There's some good power there on Saturday night. Which one are you most looking forward to?
Always look forward to Manila Playboy, but I think next pick comes up with a good draw where he might be able to run a good race.
All right. Hopefully there's a couple of winners there for you on Saturday night. Some good strike power for sure and certain. As always, Angus, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No worries. Thanks, Chris.
Leader Peter jumps in the hot seat to go through his drives on Saturday night, and he's with us now. Peter, appreciate the time.
No worries, Chris.
We start with race 2 Saturday night. Always Smoking as your drive. He's drawn out. We've got the early scratching of Glover. How do you rate his chances here?
The horse himself's racing really well, but this is a pretty strong race, so it makes it a little bit tricky. And he's not blessed with a whole heap of gate speed, but yet he's still a go forward horse. So it's a little bit tricky. He's got to try and get himself into the race, and but still try and limit the work he does at the same time. So he's definitely still a factor in the race, but it's going to be a hard race for him.
Okay. It is a good quality race. There's good prize money up for grabs here. The major players in betting at this point look like they're going to be a Rhoda and Mossdale Terry, who are drawn on the peg line. So, as you said with your guy, he's likely to push forward here. How do you sort of assess that speed drawn to your inside?
Yeah, it's good speed all the way across the front line, and we're hopeful we're going to be able to get forward. That's his best go, but at the same time, there's speed everywhere and some quality horses. It's a good quality field and a very even lineup, so it makes it tricky. And you mentioned those two already, and there's plenty of others there that are probably just as good, that are going to be in for a tough trip as well. Yeah,
are you happy with the way he's going though? Always Smoking, he's very consistent.
Yeah, I think every week he turns up and runs a good race. Last week he looked probably a little bit plain on face value, but when you just look at the times he went and had to do it parked out, it's really hard for a horse to park out in 51, so he's probably raced pretty good still.
Okay, did you get a say here in the drives? Because Whisper a Secret starts, but did the boss put the foot down and say she's driving Whisper a Secret?
I did have the option, but Chantel, she normally does drive Whisper a Secret, so, I was happy for her to drive him. The horse goes really good for her, and, I think they're all pretty even. The draws sort of play a bit of a factor as well, so, happy with the way we're going.
All right. Well, that's race number 2. What about race number 3? This race for the mares, this is the Open. A whole lot of pretty draws, gate 1 for you. She was really impressive winning 2 starts ago last week, a runner-up behind Girl from Rosedale. Could it be a similar type situation here where you can probably hold the inside, release Girl from Rosedale, and you guys are going to be sitting up the front end of the bus here?
Yeah, I think so. Girl from Rosedale obviously got good gate speed and likes to roll along a bit and was, convincing winner last week. So, that's probably one scenario. The other scenario is, we hold up. We obviously run a good race a few weeks ago in front, so we sort of seen a whole different side of her, which we sort of thought she could do, but we just hadn't had the chance to sort of do so. So that is an option as well. We won't rule that out.
Yeah, okay. Just looking back at the replay from last week, when she peeled off the back of Girl from Rosedale at the top of the stretch, she looked like she was going to make a real race of it, but in the end, Girl from Rosedale was just too strong. You go back to that effort 2 starts ago, it was a sub-55 half that she finished off in when she led, so she's going well and she's versatile.
Yeah, definitely, and she's got the good draws, so that sort of really helps her chances, and we're going to have some options, but either way, I think she's going to be right there, very close to winning at the finish.
All right. Do you know if Pat Krogan's happy with the way she's trained on this week?
Yeah, no, she she had a last lot of work this morning. She worked quite well, so all reports he's really happy with her.
All right, race number 4. This is a good quality contest, and the two runners here have drawn 1 and 2 in the Tax Collector and RD's Flash. You're driving RD's Flash. Was that a tough decision because the Tax Collector is flying?
Yeah, a little bit. Both horses are going very well. It's going to be interesting to sort of line them up. They haven't sort of raced together that much, and and they've both got some sort of feature races ahead of them. So, I think RD's Flash is a better horse, but Tax Collector, he's really stepped up of late. So, it'd be interesting to sort of see how he matches it.
Solid form for both horses. Last time out, they were chasing home Speak the Truth. So that form's as good as anything in the country right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's Queensland form is as good as anywhere in the world, I think.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Were you happy with RD's Flash because he took ground off Speak the Truth here?
Yeah, I was wrapped in him. I was actually probably a little disappointed that I tipped and rolled just a little bit too soon. At the head of the stretch, I thought I was in for a shot and got a little excited, and my run probably just peaked 50 out. So maybe I should have waited a bit longer, but saying that, Speak the Truth's a very good horse, and to get as close as we did was probably pretty impressive anyway.
All right. Do you expect to be in front with a lap lifter run here in this race Saturday night?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously he's got good gate speed, and I think it's time to sort of put him back on the front end, which he's done some in the past, and just let him probably roll and do his thing, and back to the mile. I think he'll run a really good race. Okay,
so you'll have Pacifico Dream in all likelihood on your outside, the Tax Collector right on your hammer. So the last 200 metres could be exciting here.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good quality race all the way through, and luckily enough, come up with a pretty good gate, so that really helps.
All right, race number 6 on Saturday night. Elder Magician, a rare error at the start, so he just wiped that run. 3 runs ago, in fact, he was able to score. So how does he sort of line up here, draw on the outside of the second row now that he's got the ODM tag?
Yeah, it's obviously a bit of a bugger, these ODM, but I feel like this is a bit of a drop back in class for him. He's only been able to make the ballot race this week, even though he's been racing really well. He wasn't good enough for the A grade one. So fingers crossed he puts his manners back on his A game and runs a really good race.
All right. Do you want to drive him sit sprint, or do you sort of put him into the race mid race depending on tempo?
Oh, I think depending on tempo, but he's run a couple of weeks ago when he parked out in a slick mile, and it was over the trip, and he was really good. So he can do a little bit of work, and I think either way he's gonna run a really good race.
Okay. Well, there are your drives on Saturday night. Which one are you most looking forward to?
Oh, probably RD's Flash. He's probably the best horse from our stable there Saturday night. So fingers crossed he can get the job done.
All right, race 4, number 2, RD's Flash. As always, Pete, appreciate the time. We'll see you trackside.
No worries, thank you.
As always, a big thanks to our 2 drivers giving up their time and insight. So hopefully there's a winner or 2 for Angus and Pete McMullen on Saturday night. Our first race gets underway at 5:12, 9 races. Looking for a good bet? I think we've got to be a little patient. The last leg of the quaddie, race 8, horse 5, Madam Maggie. I think she's banging down the door to win, and I think she finds the right race. She was tough in defeat last week. She might have to do it the tough way again from this tricky draw, but I think she's up to the challenge. So I'm going to mark her as the best bet. Sticking with the mares, Orchid Stride got the job done last week, so we'll go with race 8, number 5, Madam Maggie as our best bet. Looking forward to this 9-race program. As I said, we start at 5:12. We'll see you at the Creek this Saturday night.